Before I ultimately break down my thoughts of Discovery Season 3, Episode 1, I want to take a moment to give a disclaimer. It's ironic, though. I absolutely hate the fact that internally, I wondered if I really should be honest with you guys. Unfortunately, in 2020, being truthful about how you feel before giving your opinion is pretty detrimental. People will stop listening to you or use your honesty against you. But I guess here we go. To give some background, it is my opinion that Discovery Season 1 was the most toxic trek that has occurred in history of the licensed franchise, both in front of and behind the camera. It didn't do politics well, it didn't do Trek right, the advertising lied, and it can be legitimately used to explain why the fandom menace was needed. I'm not going to go too far here, but I may do a video later, or if someone wants to come on and have a chat about it, I'm not against that either. All of that being stated, I do think that after the first season, they realized that they were doing something wrong and came up with better ways of creating Trek while still keeping true to talking about the issues they wanted to talk about, even divisive ones, with a few falters here and there. I do think that TNG and DS9's way of addressing moral issues is distinct from that of Discovery and Picard. Additionally, I would say that the original series is the closest to Discovery in that manner, but we didn't have near the vitriol behind the camera from those times. At least I've not found any evidence of that. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they were just as divisive as they are now. I'm welcome to being corrected in the comments. However, every time something is done with Discovery, it just feels very dishonest. I don't really enjoy the series all that well. Hell, one of the reasons I continue to watch it is because of what I do here for a living, mainly this, and because there is a small hope that I may enjoy it in the end. There are series that I started out hating, but loved after a while, so the precedent is there. Let's look at the episode proper. Star Trek Discovery Season 3, Episode 1 is a great story that has some interesting science fiction that really isn't Trek, and kind of phones it in. Now we're going to be getting into spoiler territory for those interested and need to click away. So 3, 2, 1. Tell me if this sounds familiar. An orphan girl ends up saving her organization and indeed the galaxy. She finds herself thrust into another situation where she is lost and all alone. She finds a man who is handsome and roguish with the abs for days. He initially betrays her, but worry not, he has spirit of the heart and is pure and decides to help her in the end. While he may come off as a criminal, lo and behold, he's actually a good guy who just wants to help people. She helps him by saving creatures that can't defend themselves. She goes to find out what happened to her people and the organization, and surprise, surprise, it's gone. It's all gone. So now she rises up to reclaim and bring back justice and freedom to the masses. Yeah, I know, it's completely original, right? In the first episode of Season 1, we saw, 4 pieces of technology that were Starfleet? Well, and 5 if you include a destroyed base. There was no Starfleet, no Federation, nothing. We had Orions and Tellarites that were working together and mentions of other races. I'm sure there were probably other races in the background that you could recognize, but there's nothing here that's really Trek. There's nothing here that you wouldn't see at a Star Trek convention. Usually you can at least try to compare episodes of Trek to that of Babylon 5, The Expanse, and others. But you can't on this one. This simply isn't the spirit of writing of that type. I've admittedly never liked the Michael hero worship that we see, and it is dialed up to 11 in this episode. There were events that she should not have survived in the slightest. She is able to defeat people while drugged to the nines without missing a beat, and there's a lot of explosions. And honestly, I kind of wonder how people don't survive shuttle accidents given what a 22nd to 23rd century biosuit can take, but whatever. The burn is interesting. Dilithium exploding and basically wiping out at least the sector is curious, something I never would have thought of. People will find this weird, but I somewhat envy Ketwalski and Jesse Gender. Both of them seem to really love this, and I just can't. I don't know, it doesn't mean that the rest of the season will be bad, but I don't think we're off to a good start. If I'm being honest, I do think the premise and story are interesting. It makes me hopeful at least. Not everything was a failure, in my eyes, but all of these are just my opinions. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next Lore Reloaded.